Hey, Restless Wrappers! Oh, Adam, we are seeing his true colors! Phyllis has been abducted, and it looks like we have another wedding on the way. Stay tuned for this week's Restless Wrap.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, everybody, welcome to this week of Restless Wrap. I'm Rachel Goodman. Farah, if you want to say hello.
Yes, I'm Farah Besharat. How are you guys doing?
Oh my God, Adam. When Billy said that he is more manipulative, I'm going to say this again. When Billy said that he was more manipulative than ever, he was not off base.
Nope, not kidding.
Yeah.
He's come back with a vengeance.
Oh my God. So do you want to, before we get into shout outs, did you want to give your overall thoughts of this week?
Well, I'm excited for new Phyllis to come back. The Friday's episode was sad a little bit because we know that Gina's leaving. So that's something we're anticipating. Other than that, I'm worried about Victor.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to him?
I'm so worried about Victor. I think unless Eric Braden's leaving, though, I think he's going to be okay, but who knows? Let me go ahead and give a shout out to everybody here. We've got Hubby Joe. Extra shout out to him this week because he is actually sitting in the car right now near the studio. Didn't want to come in because I think he's worried that I would ask him to be a guest on the show. So extra special shout out to Hubby Joe for waiting. We are going to go see Phantom of the Opera after this.
Yay, so exciting.
And thank you to all the fans for being here an hour early. That's why we're doing this a little bit early. We have Susan Russo in the chat, Aaron Brody. We have Todd Beaton and Nikisha Jones. So thank you guys for all being here. We also have some comments on @RestlessWrap. One of the comments was on our video last week was, where can we find you on Facebook? So in case anyone has missed it, I did reply on the last week's video, so you can find it there. But if you want to go on Facebook, we have a Facebook page at RESTLESS WRAP at Restless Wrap. You can find us there. I always post the link to the show, and any comments you read, I will say live on the show. And if you just want to talk about YNR, we are always open to discussing things ahead of time. Anything that we don't get to touch on, if I don't read your comment, feel free to post it there and we'll talk about it. Todd Beaton says, Friday's episode was Gina's last episode as Phyllis. Yeah, and Farah, you had actually sent me the Instagram post.
Yeah.
Basically Phyllis showing us this, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so Gina posted on her Instagram some behind-the-scenes footage of the last day of filming. It was very emotional. It seemed like the entire cast and crew were there to kind of celebrate her work and support her, but it was definitely sad to see her go. It almost seemed like a lot of the cast and crew weren't ready to see her go.
It was like when she was just saying goodbye and just the hugs that people were giving her.
Yeah.
She has been... when I started watching, she was Phyllis.
Okay.
So for me, this is going to be very sad. Like,
yeah, of course.
Like watching it as a kid, I wasn't exactly paying attention.
Yes.
So like she was really the Phyllis for me.
For you.
Yeah.
I definitely was watching when the other Phyllis was there. I forget her real name.
Michelle Stafford.
Michelle Stafford. Yeah. I will say, I think she definitely built the foundation of the character. So I am happy to see her come back and take that role back. But of course it's sad to see Gina go. It's not.
Yeah. And I'm excited. I think Michelle, like, obviously she developed the role. I know, like, she's going to be amazing and it's going to be great to see her, but I'm also sad to see Gina go too.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. It's bittersweet.
Yeah. But I'm following Gina on Instagram and it looks like she's doing some traveling now.
Oh.
So it's probably nice for her to take a break and just go and enjoy life.
Enjoy her time off. Yeah. Absolutely.
We have a couple other comments and then we'll dive in here. Andrew Below, I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Let me know and I'll correct myself. But he actually made two comments. One was, where can I find Restless Wrap on Facebook? And then I told him, and instantly I received a Restless Wrap comment from Andy, saying, love your Restless Wrap show on AfterBuzz TV every Sunday. So thank you, Andy. We also have Hubby Joe, awesome show, ladies. Another awesome week for the chat and call-in. See everyone next week. Jennifer Budin says, I think Adam really had memory loss, but remember back in Vegas, the doctor warned Victor not to rush Adam's memory or it could cause problems. When he got shot, his memory did come rushing back, and that's why Adam is being so erratic. I think also that Esther is the one who shot Adam. That's interesting. And then Aaron Brody says, hi, Rachel. Just to answer your question from last week, yes, back in the 80s, Jack had a wife named Fawn. He met her after he was in the war in China. They fell in love and got married, and then he moved her to Genoa City to live with him after he found out she was pregnant. After 10 years of wedding bliss, Fawn started to fall ill after she was diagnosed with AIDS. Wow. After a visit from the hospital, it was determined that she caught the virus when they were in China after she breathed in toxic gas. And basically, Aaron just goes in to talk about chemo and their son and how eventually chemo went back to China to get in touch with his family roots. And then we do have one more comment from Cynthia Chain. Hi, ladies. I love the show. Keep in mind that in the past, Ashley is the sexy sister, and Tracy was always the heavyset, kind of non-sexual one. That's why it's hard to see her with Kane. I think that Jack is attracted to Lauren. So, okay, we were going to talk about Adam first. Let's touch on Tracy, since we did have some really interesting moments, and that comment kind of brings up a lot of points. Mm-hmm. Do you agree with them?
About Ashley?
Okay. I think I can agree with the point that Ashley is presented a certain way, very differently from Tracy.
Yeah.
But do you think that it would be awkward for Tracy and Kane to be together?
I mean, listen, like I said, I think she has a very, maternal dynamic to her. As the audience, we've all kind of grown accustomed to seeing her as being this nurturer, loving, sympathetic, empathetic person. We've never seen her in a sexual role. So I don't know if awkward is the right word. I think it's just something that we're not accustomed to. So if they do want to play this out with her character, it's somewhat of a transition for us. It's something that we would have to grow accustomed to, right? Yeah. Because we haven't experienced it in the past.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also think it's very telling. So we're basically this whole week with Tracy, what we got from her. And this is actually one of the things I was most interested in this week. Not even at the idea of their romance, potentially, but at the idea that we see Tracy, and usually I make it a point to say, oh, she's always telling us about the writing. In this case, it didn't bother me because we got to see her actually working as a writer, and it wasn't so much being pushed down our throats, but that we were seeing her at work. I really loved how they had the color contrast of her, the writer, creating these characters and showing us what they were going through in their black and white, 1920s, 1930s, almost Maltese Falcon-esque. I really loved what they did with this. I especially found it telling, though, that with Tracy, as she's writing this character, we see basically we have they actually have names that I caught: Velma and Flynn. Velma is the one who is basically the Tracy character. But so we see Lily and Kane in these characters kiss. But then when we get Velma, aka Tracy, she finally tells this Flynn fictional version of Kane how she feels about him.
Yeah.
And Kane, aka Flynn, is actually receptive to it, and he goes and he's basically into it. And the thing that really that said something to me the most about it was that Tracy, the author, who could have written it in and kept going with it, and it's almost like her characters were writing it for her, she pulled back and was like, no, this cannot happen. No way. And so I think that's the biggest thing. It's not just that, Tracy's trying to prevent it from happening. She is fighting this. And I think it's because she's worried that maybe Kane won't feel the same way.
I'm going to say something about the writers of Y&R. I'm wondering if, based on the feedback that they've gotten from the audience, if that could have kind of influenced them to kind of go around that storyline.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's where they were going.
That makes sense because the same thing happened when we've had other characters in the past. For me, I remember watching Tessariah, and there were fans saying that they didn't want to see them together, and so it didn't happen for a while. But I feel like sometimes with sometimes it's a shame to kind of listen to that,
to the fans,
especially when to me it is feeling kind of organic. We do have a couple of comments in here.
Sure.
Simone Francois says, my mom used to watch the show and she said Ashley was the beauty and Tracy was the brains. Tracy was insecure because the love of her life, Brad Carlton, cheated on her many times. And I think that kind of feeds into exactly what my point is that Tracy is very insecure, and maybe that's why she comes off more motherly, because she feels like she can't be any other way.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. Yeah, I agree with that.
So before we get into Adam and everything going on with that, why don't we make an announcement to the fans?
Sure. We just want to thank you guys so much for helping make us the ESPN of TV talk. But we always need your help. So if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. And if you're on iTunes, please give us 5 stars. But wherever you are, please give us comments. Rachel and I love hearing from you guys, and we love interacting and talking to you guys. So please keep the comments coming. And thank you again for always supporting what we love to do.
Awesome. And if you guys do end up liking and rating us, we will definitely give you a shout out. So let us know that you did in the comments, and we'll be sure to give you a shout out. Adam is a guy who definitely could use a shout out to stop what he's doing.
Speaking of shout outs, yeah, I really feel like he's come back with a vengeance. Like, it's like, I mean, I know he's always been an evil character, but I'm wondering if his memory loss and him coming back and Victor forcing him to kind of join this family has accelerated his evilness.
Yeah, and I love that last week someone pointed out that Nick and Adam did not part on bad terms. And I feel like what bothers me about this storyline is that there is such a push for Adam to get Christian back. Mm. I don't know that makes sense to me. Does that make yeah because it just seems like, okay, why all of a sudden? Like, I get it. I get the point that, okay, well, the memories came back so suddenly, maybe this is what's triggering it. He did save that one picture of Christian in the drawer when Sharon went to meet him. Mm-hmm. But it's bothering me. I like that we have Adam, and I like that he's acting this way, because I feel like we did need more of an antagonist on the show. Yeah. So it's good. I think that it's good that he came in, but just everything going on with Nick is kind of bugging me.
Yeah, the flow of the storyline is a little off, because like you said, when he initially left the show, he left his son with Nick. Yeah. Right? So it's weird.
And Victor even, so we get a scene with, first, before we get the scene with Victor and Adam, we get a little brief scene between Sharon and Adam. And this is where a lot of the tension I was worried about that was going to come up between Sharon and Ray started to come to the surface. Yeah. So how do you feel about Ray? Like, I get that he's spying on Adam, so that makes sense to me. But how do you feel about the confrontation he had with Sharon?
I mean, it was only a matter of time before he confronts her about about her relationship with Adam. I mean, it's like in any healthy relationship, when there's a third party involved, it's uncomfortable, much less a third party that you had a romantic relationship with in the past. So I don't blame him for confronting her.
And the fact that Adam is so manipulative. Yeah. And that's why part of me knows that, or not knows, that's why part of me believes that the memory situation was a lie, because he was really preying on Sharon. And the more I saw Sharon and Adam together, at first, I thought that Adam really was kind of a victim and that he was different. But now when I see it, I see him as preying on Sharon, and that he preys on people in general and will work on their emotional insecurities, and he will work an angle that gets them to do what he wants. And the more that this week went along, the more we saw that. Like, when he finally got to Phyllis knew what he was doing, though, and that's the difference. Whereas Sharon...
That's interesting that you say that, because it's like, to highlight the difference between Phyllis and Sharon. Yeah. Phyllis is on top of her game, and she knows when someone's trying to manipulate her. Yeah. Whereas Sharon is kind of like this innocent puppy. Like, she's not really aware of it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I feel like Sharon should know, but I guess that just kind of, like you said, kind of shows us the difference between Phyllis and Sharon,
Right.
and how Sharon is coming from the standpoint that she's just this innocent person who, she really is innocent too, who is just trying to help another person who
Yeah.
really did have an effect on her. And I think that that's part of it too, is that maybe it isn't so much that she's being manipulated by Adam, but the fact that she understands to a certain degree where he's coming from.
Yes. I still don't know what would be his incentive, though, to like pretend like he doesn't remember.
I mean, I just feel like he has a bigger plan, and that right now, the only goal that we really see is that he wants Christian back.
Yeah.
That's like the big thing. Christian, Connor, and Chelsea.
Yeah, that's all he wants.
And that was another interesting thing. So we not only learned that Chelsea is still around,
Yeah.
but that
she's married.
she's married, and that the man adopted Connor. And that's kind of where we found out about that. We found out that Chloe Mitchell, that they're talking about her being alive. We know she is.
Yeah.
But that they're talking about it now, and it's going to be interesting. We saw Kevin come back. My question to you is, what do you, like, how does it make you feel that not only is he now trying to cause trouble with Nick, with Christian, but what do you think he's up to with Phyllis and actually abducting her?
You mean Kevin or Adam?
Well, I think it was implied that even though Kevin is the one who did it, that it was that Kevin's working with Adam.
Well,
Or do you not think that that's the case?
I don't think they're in alliance. No. Obviously, I think Adam doesn't care about anyone but himself and his final goal. So yes, that he is in an alliance with Phyllis, but at the end of the day, he would be fine with her just, like, what's the word? Like, he doesn't care if she gets run over. Like,
Yeah.
she's fine with that.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think Adam and Kevin are in an alliance. I think Kevin is doing this because he wants Chloe. Like, he knows where Chloe is.
Yeah.
And he knows that Adam is after Chloe somehow. So he is abducting Phyllis to make sure that Chloe doesn't get caught somehow.
And that would make sense too.
Yeah.
It was just, to me, it was very convenient. We had that whole scene with Adam and Phyllis, and that basically she finally, like, she didn't want to do this. Like, it took a lot of, I don't want to say manipulation, because he really didn't manipulate Phyllis so much because she knew what he was up to.
Right.
But he finally talked her into doing this for him and basically hacking into the dark
Yeah.
system.
How did she do that, by the way?
That's what hubby Joe and I were wondering. Like,
I still don't get it.
like, they've really been pushing recently that she
Yeah.
has turned into a hacker and this computer person. But when I started watching, she didn't strike me as being that way.
No.
Yeah, like, I saw the video games, but just because you enjoy playing video games doesn't mean that you're a hacker.
No, I agree. It takes an intense engineer and someone who's really educated in the system to understand how to hack into a big corporation like that. So I don't understand how they just bring Phyllis in, like, oh, oh, you're hacked in. I just don't get it.
And because we knew Kevin was, and we've seen him work for Victor, and we've seen him, like, in general, we've seen him come around to hack into different things for people. So I got that. Phyllis didn't make sense to me.
Nope.
And the fact that Adam would know that she does this didn't make sense to me. But okay, let's just, like, suspending this, disbelief here.
Yeah.
Let's just say that she could for the sake of argument. And he gives her the money. I kind of picked up on the fact that even though he sent her the money, he sent it to her knowing he was going to take care of her. And so to me, I feel like maybe, like, we're all thinking that maybe Chloe is not working with Adam, but maybe Chloe and Kevin and Adam are all on the same team now. Yeah, I know, but you never know. Like, I just feel like something is going on. We saw that Adam was texting people.
Okay, yeah,
to
we
take
don't
care of
know
it.
who he's texting.
Yeah,
that's
not-
true.
yeah.
He's been texting people for weeks, even before he came back from his him being shot in the hospital with his memory.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and so we don't know. Like, I assumed it was a crew back in Las Vegas.
right.
But it could be Kevin, maybe. I feel like we're gonna figure it out next week, though. The way that they've been, the way they've kind of set this up, and based on what we saw with Gina's last scene that she filmed, it was in that same dress. So it kind of makes sense that we're gonna see, that finalized.
Side note, can I make a comment?
Yeah.
Did Adam finally get a bank account? Because how else did he transfer funds
the money?
to Phyllis?
Unless he has somebody else working for him that has the bank account, and or he has another identity. And
but that still doesn't explain why he had
cash on him.
Cash.
Yeah, because if he had the bank account. Yeah. And, or, no, the only thing I can think is that Victoria's the one who gave him the money. So maybe she somehow opened it up into a different account.
Point of the matter is, Y&R should make this clear for us,
yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
we have so many questions. Like, how did Phyllis hack into the account?
Yeah.
Does he now have a bank account? Like, these things should be clarified for us because there's so many questions.
I agree, and I think because what I kind of picked up on was it was a $27 million debt, it was a $27 million debt that Adam bought with the money that I believe he had gotten from Victoria.
Yeah.
So presumably she put it into some account for him because you're not just gonna hand someone 27 or 50 million in cash.
But wasn't the cash contingent on him leaving Genoa City? So if he hasn't left,
I feel like she already gave it to him, but we don't really know. I assumed she did, but in any case, let's just say whether she did or she didn't, somehow he had this money, and he bought this loan, so now he pretty much owns Nick, and Nick still wouldn't give up Christian.
Of course, I mean, it's his child.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course not, but I just I feel like we're gonna see the end of Dark Horse already now.
Which makes me sad. Nick worked so hard to build that company, to kind of build a persona for himself outside of his father and his father's company.
Yeah, it didn't, to me though, it didn't feel like Nick, like he has felt like, ever since he's been with Dark Horse, Nick has felt like a different kind of person to me. And we can even blame that on the end of his, like him becoming this different person, also kind of caused the breakup between him and Sharon too. So I'm curious what's going to happen to him now. Like, obviously this isn't going to end well. He's not going to give up Christian.
No.
So I don't see Dark Horse making it. We do have a bunch of comments here.
Let's do it.
So let me go through and read what some people have said. Jean says, so next time we see Phyllis, it will be Michelle. Not quite. So they film a couple weeks in advance, I believe.
Right.
So it will probably take us 2 to 3 weeks to actually get to Michelle.
Yeah.
But her last actual day on set was this last Friday. So it's not, it'll take them a couple weeks to air that episode.
Right.
But it's getting close. Let me see. Jean also says, Elizabeth is leaving General Hospital, so no doubt she'll be back on as Chloe. Old time Phyllis was a hacker. Okay, good to know. So maybe that's why they're setting it up, because Michelle's coming back. Hubby Joe, she hacked into Dark Horse on a laptop in a matter of seconds. Capital N-O-T! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation! Mary, hi everyone. Hey, Mary. Simone says, I heard Kevin has grabbed Phyllis because he thinks Adam has Chloe for some reason. Okay, because Adam is looking for Chloe. Susan Russo, yes. Mary, are we earlier today? Yes, Mary, we are earlier. We will go back to our regular 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time next Sunday. And then Hubby Joe just said, yes, Rachel and I are going to Phantom of the Opera tonight. And then Hubby Joe says Victor will pay off the debt and Nick will keep his company. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought that could happen too. So, okay, let's kind of switch gears here. I feel like we did spend a lot of time on Adam. Why don't we get into a little bit of things happening with Kyle and Lola and Summer? Mm-hmm. What do you think about Summer right now?
You know, I really wanted to see her transition and how she deals with the emotions of, breaking up a marriage and all that stuff. And I think it's good to see that not that it's good to see that she's struggling with alcohol or that she's drinking a lot. It's not good to see that, but it makes sense, right? It makes sense that someone who just got out of a marriage with a man that she really cared about is kind of being erratic, is kind of acting out, So it's sad to see, but it makes sense as the audience to witness that.
Yeah. And we got to see a lot of scenes with the millennials, I'll call them, at the society. And we saw her with Theo. We saw her hook up with Theo. But one scene that really stuck out to me is when Kyle showed up and Summer was drinking, and pretty much like Natalia was like, well, how do you guys know each other? I'm sensing there's a thing.
Yeah.
And Summer's like, yep, so you want to hear this funny story? And proceeds to tell, like, you know, pretty much in a TLDR, like, yep, this is what happened. And it just, I feel bad for her. Everyone says that she should have known what she was getting into, but let's face it, what Kyle did was kind of a jerk move, like majorly
Such a jerk move.
Yeah, and then to suddenly jump into going back with the person he wanted to be with and get engaged to her, like it didn't mean anything to him, even though we kind of, when they were married, Summer and Kyle, I just felt like there was a little bit of something there.
There's definitely something there. Even the fact that he's shown concern for her and went to the club, and not the club. What's the new Society, and basically just sat her down and talked to her and kind of warned her that she was drinking so much, showed me that there's still something looming there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he went back to Lola, and this is kind of like as we got into more of their storyline. But he kind of admitted, even Lola kind of admitted that she was concerned about Summer. But what I found interesting is that Lola made the comment that Summer's like an energetic vampire. She feeds off the drama, and that's how she, you know, like that's what she does. And that's why everything is always terrible, because she loves that. How did you agree with Lola?
I mean, yes, somewhat. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? I mean, judging by who her mother is. God, I hate saying that, but it's a show, so I can say it. But yeah, I mean, she's witnessed her mother, you know, acting out her whole life. So it's based off of what she's seen. That's how she acts.
And we got, like, to kind of segue a little bit into the unwedding, we got that whole scene with Phyllis and Adam showing up, and then we got that scene between Phyllis and Summer, and then Nick stepping up. I, like, speaking of the, you know, the apple not falling far from the tree, I loved that even though Summer is Phyllis's daughter and does do things that we don't like, she has this really tense conversation with Phyllis and basically tells her mom, hey, like, you're going down the deep end. Like, like stop. This is not right. And Phyllis tries to say, well, watch out for those Abbotts. Like, who are you going to have? Like, basically trying to make Summer feel like she would have no one. And then luckily,
Nick walks in and says, she'll have me.
Yeah, I loved that moment. And that's the unfortunate thing, is that when you grow up with an adult who is when you watch them doing certain things and when they raise you a certain way, like, no wonder Summer is acting the way that she is. I love the influence. Like, I love that even though Nick definitely has his moments, he is a very grounded parent, and I love their relationship.
Yeah, he's her pillar of strength, and we've seen that. You know, there was the scene a few weeks ago where she was sitting on the couch eating ice cream and she was super sad, and he came and comforted her. So while she does have a mother that's very erratic, she also has a father that has been a source of strength for her.
Yeah.
So.
And I just loved that scene where he stepped up and made her feel like she wasn't alone, because I get that Phyllis is going through a rough time, and I get that she would tell Summer, don't trust the Abbotts. Like, I get that part of it. It's the part where she said, who are you going to have? You're going to be alone, and like trying to make her
how can you say that to your daughter?
Yeah, and Phyllis is manipulative on her own. So I feel really bad. So we touched on Phyllis. We touched on kind of everything going on with Adam. We have an engagement now. What did you think of the Kyle Lola moment?
Well, I think it's a little too fast.
Yeah.
I think it's a little too fast. And I'm wondering if his concern and his feelings for Summer might have triggered him to want to move forward with Lola a little bit. Like, he was kind of getting scared, like, oh my God, do I still have feelings for Summer? No, I don't. And I'm going to prove that I don't by marrying Lola.
Yeah. And I think it was Ray and Kyle both pointed out, he is still legally married.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't get that. Like, handle your other business first. Get divorced. I loved how Ray handled it. I loved that Kyle did want to go to Ray to ask for his permission, his blessing. And I love that Ray is the father figure, even though he's her brother.
So cute.
It was, yeah, just very like Ray. I think he handled it very rationally too.
Yeah.
Like on the one hand, he was like, listen, you have to understand what a marriage really is. And instead of being the typical like father figure who said like, my daughter's too perfect for you. Instead of that, he was like, listen, like Lola can be annoying. And I almost thought it was like a test. Like, what's Kyle going to say?
Yeah.
Like, knuckles cracking.
Yeah.
But it was interesting that he handled it that way because Ray was pretty much just trying to say, like, yeah, like dating and being with somebody are two very different things.
Yeah.
The only other thing is that Kyle does live with Lola. So even though the marriage is not, even though it's not legally that they're married, I feel like living with someone and being married to them, even though there is a technical difference, when you live with somebody, you still learn who they are. It's still like you have this like domestic relationship with that person. So I feel like it's very similar, but like you said, they should have just given it more time.
But mind you, it's been what, 2 weeks that they lived together?
Yeah.
Hold your horses.
Give it like 6 months.
Yeah.
Because then they'll know each other. They'll know what it's like to really be together all the time.
Yeah. So back to my point, like I question what's your rush? And I believe that the rush is that he is having second thoughts.
Yeah.
And his relationship with Summer is kind of making him concerned about his relationship with Lola.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to check in with the chat one more time, and then we'll get to the Jabot Collective and things going on with that. Then we'll get to our law moment.
Okay.
Maxwell Comics Inc. says, Kyle and Lola need to stop. It's way too fast. They need to slow down. Hubby Joe, Kyle's allowed to spend money on the wedding since it's a special day. Nothing like the second marriage. Todd Beaton, fans like Lola and Kyle together, not Summer and Kyle. I wanted him to be with Summer. I thought she was better for him in terms of people and who they are. But Cubby Joe, it's cool when a guy goes to the father and asks for his blessing to marry his daughter. And he's giving a winking face because Joe went to my dad.
Oh, Hubby Joe. So cute.
Maxwell Comics, I don't like all this blessing mess. I'd rather they just go to Ray just as a source of advice. And I feel like that's what Ray was doing too.
It's essentially what it was for, yeah.
And then we have Shakira Pickens. Hubby Joe, I heard Summer will pass a baby onto Kyle, just breaking up him and Lola. We will see. And then Maxwell says, I think they both need to slow down. I'ma need them to go a month without breaking up or having a big fight.
I agree.
And then Ryan Nielsen says, love both of you on the show. Can't get enough. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. We love you too.
So let's talk about the Jabot Collective. It launched. And then we got some crap with Phyllis.
I still can't believe that she's doing this.
Yeah.
Like, what is she thinking?
For her to think she's not going to get caught either. For it not to be so obvious. I mean, the website went back to Genoa City.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't think that's why it's not believable for me that she'd be able to hack into Dark Horse without getting caught, because she's so obvious. She's sitting in Crimson Lights doing this, creating this fake site, working on this fake site.
I mean, all you need is an IP address and you can find things out. So
it's not like it's much. I don't know. Like maybe what was mentioned is that she was a hacker in the 90s. Okay, fine, maybe, but I'm not buying it. And if you were creating a site and trying to rip off another company, you wouldn't be working your business in a public place,
right?
Especially
in
Crimson Light
coffee house.
You would do it in your house, and then. Yeah, I mean, I get that maybe part of it is that she doesn't want to be in her house, but she's living at a hotel room right now. Yeah, so I just don't think that that part's believable. And then I think Lauren gets it. She knows it's her. She goes and tries to talk to Jack, but then Jack doesn't want to really believe it.
I don't understand why he wouldn't believe it. Lauren is, a confidant and close to the company. So what is there not to believe? When has Lauren come across as untrustworthy?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just I feel like I don't know how they're going to switch from Gina to Michelle, but kind of like as soon as we heard that this was happening, I always felt like it was going to somehow be like plastic surgery, and that this Phyllis was going to, like Gina as Phyllis was going to just put herself in a corner where she couldn't get out of it because she's just making so many mistakes.
Yeah, I don't see the plastic surgery thing happening, especially because Michelle was the original Phyllis. I think it's just going to be like, they're just going to switch it up and say Phyllis is not going to be played by Michelle Stafford.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah. We'll see. I guess we'll see in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we will.
Let's get to our law moment. Farah, what was yours this week?
So my law moment was at Victoria and Billy's unwedding, because it wasn't really a wedding, right? So instead of exchanging rings, they exchanged arts and crafts from their kids, which I thought was cute and funny. They thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Definitely. I liked that. It was very unique, too.
It was different.
Yeah. Mine was right after Phyllis gets into the car accident, which I thought was going to be like the beginning of the end, which I sort of guess I'm sort of right. Yeah. But she got into this car accident. Adam is the guy who, I don't know if he cut her off or if she was being like kind of dumb by playing with her radio. But in any case, Phyllis, this is really her first time seeing Adam, and she gets out of the car and he gets out of his. And the quote is, Phyllis to Adam, if I hadn't heard you were among the living, I would have been sure you were getting me at the gates of hell.
Aww.
I thought that was hilarious.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, okay. And Phyllis had some very like overly dramatic dialogue this week. I noticed. Like, like it is the end. So that definitely had me laughing. We do have a little bit of news too, which we sort of mentioned already.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Just so that we can officially put it in a segment, we mentioned this about Gina, but just everything with the Instagram post.
Oh, yes.
In case anyone missed it earlier and you came into the show late, let's officially announce it again that Gina's last day of filming was Friday.
Yeah. It was all over social media.
Yeah.
She posted videos and photos of her last day, cast and crew showing their love. A lot of comments in the posts, too.
Yeah.
About how much they appreciate and support her.
Yeah. So, in case you guys missed it, there it is. And let's get to our predictions.
Okay.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Farah, why don't you, or do you want me to start or do you want to start?
You start.
Okay. I'm still gonna go with the fact that Kevin is working with Adam somehow.
Okay.
And that it isn't related to. I mean, I think it is related to Chloe somehow. Maybe Chloe is not in the picture yet, but I definitely think that Kevin and Adam are together somehow working on this, and that Adam wanted Phyllis out of the way. And that it was gonna, like, he planned all along that she would be kind of taken to the side and kept out of the public so that she couldn't do any more damage or potentially talk. Because I think one of the worries that that Adam might have is that Phyllis would go to Nick and admit what she had done, because Adam could feel that Phyllis felt bad about it.
Okay.
So I think that might happen. And then I also think we had a scene with Devon and Elena, and he again saw Hillary. I think that they're going to make that a really big deal, and that it's going to really bother him that he is moving past her, and these visions of Hillary are going to keep coming back and getting bigger until finally it really gets in the way of their relationship. Other than that, my other prediction is with Victor. They said, like, he was talking to Nikki about this being basically life-threatening, but that he was optimistic. I think that he's going to struggle with it for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's going to die, but I think it's going to look like he's going to die.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be a really big thing around Genoa City. And then if he is dying, I think that Adam's going to come into this place where maybe he is put into a position of power, because Victor is really trying to groom him for that.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I think Victor's illness is definitely going to have an impact on his family. Whether that's a good impact or bad impact, I'm not sure, but something along the lines of, either bringing the kids together or keeping them even further apart. I still don't think that Kevin and Adam are in an alliance. I just don't see how Kevin would form an alliance with a man that killed his girlfriend or wife's. Are they married? They're not married, right?
They are
Kevin and Chloe?
I don't think they're married.
Okay, well, his girlfriend's child. I just don't see that happening. I do think that Kevin abducting Phyllis has something to do with Chloe.
Yeah, that makes sense. We have a couple more comments and then we'll wrap up. So Shakira Pickens, do y'all think Phyllis and Adam and Jack and Lauren will hook up?
Lauren?
It's spelled L-O, I think Lauren. I think that's what they
Lauren.
meant, but yeah.
I do think they're trying to make something with Jack and Lauren.
Yeah, I think so too, and especially the fact that Lauren brought up that she brought up this whole speech on how her marriage was lasting so long. So time for it to go.
I know. It's so funny because we were just talking about how they've had a long-lasting relationship.
We also have Maxwell Comics with a few comments. To be honest, I'm a Miss Gina. It took a minute for us to warm up to her, but she really made the role her own. At this point, Adam has nothing, so he's going to watch the world burn. Maxwell Comics, Kevin is blackmailing Adam for Chloe, I think. And then Todd is just mentioning Gina again, and he thinks that Adam will save Victor. And then we have Susan Russo. So Victoria gave Adam millions, but he isn't going anywhere. Yeah, so we'll have that too to discuss. For now, though, Farah, where can everybody find you?
Everyone can find me on Instagram at Farah_Naz_B.
Awesome. And I am Rachel Goodman. You can find me on Twitter at Rach Goodman or on Instagram at Rachel Radner Author. That is my author social media. You can also find me out on my readers group on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/Rachel Radner. If you want, you can also go to our Restless Wrap Facebook page, which I mentioned earlier, but in case you missed it, it is facebook.com/Restless Wrap. Until next week, have a wonderful Sunday. We will catch you next time. Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.